The church executed Jeanne d'Arc and then turned her into a saint. A teenage girl claims she hears voices from God, leads an army, saves a kingdom, and just 2 years later, she's burned alive as a heretic. So, what actually happened? Jeanne d'Arc was born in a small village in France, around 1412. She wasn't noble, she wasn't trained, she wasn't supposed to change history, but at around 13 years old, she claimed something impossible. She said she could hear voices of saints, telling her to save France. At that time, France was collapsing, the English controlled large parts of the country, and the future king, Charles VII, wasn't even crowned yet. Then Jeanne appears. A teenage girl walks into a war and somehow convinces people she was sent by God. In 1429, she joins the French army. She helps lift the siege of Orléans, a turning point no one expected. Then she pushes for something even bigger, the coronation of Charles VII. If he becomes king, France has legitimacy again. And somehow, it works. A peasant girl just helped crown a king. That's crucial because at the time, the England's throne had a claim over the kingdom of France, but power doesn't like miracles it can't control. In 1430, Jeanne is captured, not by the English directly, but by their allies, a French faction that supported the English throne, and then she's handed over, not to a battlefield, but to a trial. Jeanne is judged by a church court, but this isn't just religion, this is politics. If Jeanne is proven a fraud, then her visions are false. And if her visions are false, Charles VII's coronation loses its divine meaning. So, what is really on trial here? Not just Jeanne, but the King of France. They accuse her of heresy, of false visions, of defying the church. But one detail becomes symbolic. She wore men's clothing, and that becomes one of the key arguments against her. She signs a confession under pressure, and then later takes it back, and that seals her fate. In 1431, Jeanne d'Arc is executed, burned alive in Rouen. She is 19 years old and officially a heretic. But the story doesn't end there. Years later, everything changes. France regains control, the political situation shifts, and the church reopens the case. In 1456, the original trial is declared invalid. Jeanne is officially declared innocent, and centuries later she is declared a saint. Jeanne didn't change. The voices she believed in, the choices she made, the person she was, all of that stayed all the same. The people in power changed, the interests changed, and suddenly the truth changed with them. The same institution that condemned her later defended her, not because reality was different, but because moment was. And maybe that's the uncomfortable part of this story. How much of what we accept as truth is shaped by who has the power to define it. Not just back then, but today. And ever since, she's remained a symbol of French unity and national pride. And which story should we break down next? See ya!